Step 2, after I've gone through and done the parallel linking, emotional triggering is the next one. And that's huge. This is a lot of work as an actor. You really need to take the time and know yourself, know your own emotional triggers. This can be difficult work. I mean, if a role I'm playing is going through grief, I need to create something in me that is going to trigger that grief. For example, I worked on a film in Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful film. It's called, amazing group of people. It's called The Lost Within. And I played my role was an Amish woman who, I mean, in a nutshell, she was extricated from her life. She had given birth to a son who had deformities, was someone where the beliefs where she was that that child shouldn't live. And she, as a mother, nothing can break that bond with that child once you have them, from my experience. But anyway, she was hidden away in a motel, like a dingy side of the road motel, and she'd been there for years, and she'd kept her son hidden. And she's discovered, they find her in the end, and she's running with her son, and she has mental illness of her own, and her fear is that they're going to take her son away from her, and in her mind, she's going to give him back to God to save him. So the ending of the scene is my character taking her baby, her son, and dropping him off a bridge. But in her mind, again, she's releasing him into God's hands and saving him. So, obviously, heartbreaking. Mental illness of itself is heartbreaking. And then to put myself in the position of this woman who is going through this and thinking that she's saving her son, knowing she's never going to see him again. I'm crying thinking about it. So to get to this place mentally, for me, and it's funny, I was working on another film when I first started acting, and a woman I worked with, her scene that she delivered was perfect in my mind, priceless. Her emotion, she had me in knots. And I remember asking her, how do you prepare? How do you get there? And she was coy and she was hilarious. And she said, when anyone asks you that, honey, you just say, talent. And I remember thinking, I gotta remember that. But I think it's important to reveal, to share, to hopefully help people, actors who are learning and really want to take their craft to a level that they haven't before. And this was the first time for me on this film to be in front of this large, huge crew out in the open, sharing this grief that I had created in myself to deliver this scene. So I asked the director if I could have time to myself in the car, alone, away from everyone, to prepare, and then walkie when I was ready to do the scene. And he was great. And it's another word of advice for actors. If you have to prepare a scene that's really, you have to be emotionally here, whether it's anger, sadness, happiness, whatever it's going to take for you to get there for that performance, communicate that with the crew, with the director. They're all there and they want you to do your best. So if there is a technique, a process that you have, share it. I've created this in my head, and this is a trigger for me for this grief. And once you do this work and you uncover these triggers for joy, for grief, for boredom, for depression, for elation, that's your vault as an actor.